The phrase, the future of the WWE, gets thrown around a lot, and we've lost count of the number of wrestlers who were heralded for greatness only to be banished to the mid-card and then released 3 months later. But when it comes to Bron Breakker, WWE might have just found the right person to carry them for the next few decades. From the football field, to the squared circle, to championship gold, let's rewind the clock and watch Bron Breakker evolve from NXT prospect to main event material. We're breaking down how Bron Breakker went from Nepo baby to the hottest new prospect in the business, and why he's not just the future of the WWE, he's the now. But before we dissect the meteoric rise of Bron Breakker, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We provide hard-hitting analysis on the top stories in wrestling every week, and you don't want to miss out. Now, let's get going. Let's kick things off where Bron's journey began, not in the wrestling ring, but on the football field. Before he was spearing people through the mat, Bron, then known by his real name Bronson Rick Stiener, was trying to tackle his way onto the NFL. He played fullback at Kennesaw State University, where he showcased the raw athleticism that would later define his wrestling career. In 2020, Bron signed as an undrafted free agent with the Baltimore Ravens, and while his NFL dream was short-lived, it laid the foundation for the explosiveness and agility we see in the ring today. In February 2021, Bron signed with WWE and began training at the Performance Center. Now, most newbies spend years honing their craft before getting TV time, but we all know that the Stiener family are genetic freaks and not normal. So, Bron's first TV appearance was actually as a zombie in a lumberjack match at WrestleMania Backlash in 2021. Not exactly a showcase, but everyone has to start somewhere, right? Fast forward to September 2021, and NXT underwent a colorful rebrand to NXT 2.0. Gone was the black and gold theme and 30-minute matches with 100 false finishes, and instead was a platform to showcase fresh, homegrown talent. A lot of NXT fans were skeptical of this new approach, but WWE had an ace up their sleeve in Bron. In fact, before his first match, which marked Bron's first televised match ever, he symbolically smashed up the old NXT logo as he made his way to the ring. This established Bron as someone WWE had high hopes for, and he then followed up with a statement match against LA Knight, where Bron picked up the win. This was a declaration of intent. Bron Breakker had arrived, and he was here to break stuff. The days of slapping a belt on the newest monster in town are long over. We've learned a lot since the Goldberg days, because unless you want a multi-year title reign, your monster has to lose eventually, and that instantly strips all the mystique and momentum away. That's why we've seen a crash course in excellent booking with Bron, because he was gradually built up to the powerhouse we know him as today. He challenged Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship at Halloween Havoc in 2021, and while he didn't win, he looked good in defeat. December 2021 saw Bron lead Team 2.0 against Team Black and Gold at War Games. Not only did his team win, but Bron pinned Ciampa to secure the victory. This set the stage for a one-on-one match between the two a month later, where Bron picked up the victory and got his first taste of wrestling gold. But Bron wasn't content with just one reign. After losing the title to Dolph Ziggler, Bron reclaimed his throne, becoming the first two-time NXT champion of the new era. Bron's main roster debut arguably came at the 2024 Royal Rumble, even though he was still officially on the NXT brand at the time. Bron entered at number 20 and eliminated 4 people before being tossed over the top rope by Dominic Mysterio. It was a real good showing, and the fact that he was in the Rumble at all suggested that WWE was still high on him. Then February 2024 saw Bron officially drafted to the SmackDown brand, marking the end of his NXT domination. And then 2 months later, Bron was shifted to Monday Night Raw, where he quickly made his presence felt. He made a show of spearing the absolute hell out of Ricochet multiple times, and even speared him right out of his WWE contract. Then he set his sights on the Intercontinental Championship, held by Sami Zayn at the time. Bron took on Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title at Money in the Bank 2024, in a match that fans believe would firmly establish Bron as a major player on the main roster. Bron and Sami put on a great match, and despite a few near falls, Sami came out victorious. It was an odd decision for sure, especially since Sami Zayn is an established veteran who doesn't need wins over newcomers. The booking had a lot of fans scratching their heads because they thought this could signal the end for Bron's push. But at this year's SummerSlam, it was Bron Breakker versus Sami Zayn, round 2, once again for the Intercontinental title. Once again, it was a scrappy underdog versus the powerhouse, and this time, Bron was out for redemption. The match was a masterclass in storytelling. Sami used every trick in his playbook, trying to outsmart the younger, stronger Bron. But this time, Bron came prepared. For every move Sami had, Bron had the raw power and athleticism to counter, plus the wisdom gained from their match at Money in the Bank. In the end, Braun's relentless assault proved too much. After a brutal spear that nearly cut Sami in half, Braun stood tall as the new Intercontinental Champion. Braun had learned from his mistakes, adapted, and overcame. In hindsight, it made Braun's loss in their match seem worth it because it gave Braun a little character development along the way. So, we've talked about Braun's rise from rookie to Intercontinental Champion, but now let's look at why WWE is so high on this guy. First off, it's easy to see that Braun has the it factor in spades. You know how some wrestlers just look like they could wreck you without breaking a sweat? Yeah, that's Braun. He's got the aura of danger around him, like a caged animal ready to pounce. But it's not just his looks. Braun is a perfect blend of old school and new school wrestling. He's got the explosiveness and the aggression, and he's not out here doing unnecessary danger spots. He's jacked to the gills, works a safe style, and all his stuff looks like $1,000,000. Braun is basically Goldberg, but with actual wrestling ability. Braun might be new to the business, but he's got wrestling royalty in his DNA. Everyone knows that Braun is the son of Hall of Famer Rick Steiner and nephew of wrestling legend turned math genius Scott Steiner. These days, the Steiners are mostly remembered for Scott's general insanity, but they were actually one of the most dominant and respected tag teams in the industry. Rick was a powerhouse in his own right, and back in Scott's mullet days, before becoming Big Papa Pump, he was considered to be one of the best all-round wrestlers in the world. That technical know-how style has clearly been passed down to Braun, who combines power with surprising technical skill. Not only does Braun have genetics on his side, but Rick and Scott Steiner came up in an era where wrestling was a shark tank. So they know the ups and downs of the pro wrestling world and know how to navigate them. That means for Braun, a wealth of invaluable knowledge is only a phone call away. If Vince was still in charge, he'd have probably already saddled Braun with a dancing gimmick by now. But with Triple H running the show, fans can rest assured that Braun's booking is in safe hands. Sure, Triple H might fumble the odd superstar, but he's always had a lot of love for ex-NXT guys, even the ones he didn't cultivate himself. Braun fits the mold of a Triple H guy down to a T. He's got the look, the in-ring ability, and the promo skills that make a modern star. More proof that WWE has changed for the better under Triple H because WWE now actually listens to the fans. We saw it with the We Want Cody trend just before WrestleMania 40, and we're seeing it with Bron Breakker. When Braun lost to Sami at Money in the Bank, online fans took to calling him Sammy Hogan, implying that Sami had no right to go over younger stars. Whether or not Braun's eventual win was in the pipelines at this point, we don't know. But if it wasn't, WWE quickly corrected course by putting Braun over at SummerSlam and giving the people what they wanted. Bron Breakker's rise to Intercontinental Champion is a feel-good story wrapped in a heel package. It shows what happens when raw talent meets opportunity and fan support. And with competent booking and Steiner intensity, we might be even looking at a future WrestleMania main eventer. What's next for him? We can see him elevate the Intercontinental title back to its former glory as the Workhorse Championship like Gunther did, or it might be a stepping stone to the World Championship. Whatever happens, we're ready for it. And if he drops a little Steiner math on us, that's just icing on the cake. So what do you think? Is Braun the real deal, or is this just beginner's luck? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into Braun's rise to the top, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more wrestling analysis.